Hey folks, it's Tom, your Frugal Prepper. I'm here working on this Pontiac Grand Am. I got the timing chain in, and so I'll show you what I'm doing. So I got my ECCPP high quality parts timing chain. It also says here that it is premium timing chain kit. So it looks premium to me. I'm sure the Chinese would not put it on there if it was not true. The parts really don't look that bad to me. There's the sprockets, timing chain. I'm happy with it for like $42 free shipping. The other sprocket. These tensioners. The bottom sprocket. It looks as good as the stuff that's on there originally. I think this is the tensioner. Let's see. Well, there's the tensioner. There's this tensioner thing. Alright, so I got the parts. They look good to me. I'm going to go for it. Here is what I came up with. I wanted to come up with something better. I was just using the back end of these drill bits before, and they don't fit perfectly snug. So I took and sacrificed this old Chicago tool screwdriver, and this made me some dowels that can fit right in there, and they are like a perfect fit. So get you a big Phillips screwdriver if you're doing this, and you can cut it up, make you some dowel pins. Now I know, that'll hold it while I'm taking it all apart and putting it together, but the sprocket's got to come off here at some point. So I guess the advantage there is when I want to torque this nut, brake torque and get it off and torque it on, I can use that dowel pin to hold it so it's not rotating. Because these are interference engines, and you're at top dead center on one, but other valves could be open, or whatever. You go turn that around and open the valves up on one, or whatever, you could hit a piston, bend something. So you want to keep them straight on, and that'll help hold this one in place while I'm doing that one. So you really kind of do need these pins, I think. So I'm going to just start working on pulling this out, and I'm going to go check the book real quick and see what I got to take off first or whatever. I don't know if it's the tensioner or what. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of show you here real quick what we're going to do. We're going to pull out these 3 plastic tensioners, it looks like. Let's mark the timing chain. I probably will mark mine just in case. And we're going to remove some timing chain guides, and we're going to remove this guy right here, some bolts out. We're going to take the timing chain off and inspect the parts per wear and then replace them. So I just like to put this out here in case other people don't have access to a manual to see it. Kind of give you all a little bit of a some pictures to show what we're going to be doing. Okay, I will say this, like these little pins, I just had to give them a little tap, make sure they're seated all the way back. They kind of, they're a tight fit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this timing chain and the sprockets, one, so I know which side was out if I did have to put it back in, say this one didn't fit or something, just in case as a fallback measure. And I'm also going to mark put some marks on the chain and on the sprocket here where they line up. And so as I'm looking at the engine on these sprockets, I'll also put an L for left and an R for my right one. And I'll do a little mark down here, just a little dot on my timing, on my crank sprocket. This, in case I need to put that back on, I can make sure I get it in the right way. So I'm just going to grab this. It looks like it kind of pulls straight out. I don't know if I can get in here. I might have to pry it a little with a screwdriver. Very gently. Alright, that one's out. Okay, that one's definitely got some wear on it. Kind of grabbing the chain there. According to the book, you pull these out first. I don't know. Yep, there we go. It's not hanging on. I'm going to pry the chain. Come on. There we go. And that one's out. Okay, so these bolts are kind of right here where you put the engine all the way up or down. You're going to have to work into this tight spot to get them out. I'm using my Easy Red extra long ratcheting wrench. These two on the tensioner itself are 8mm. They're just, I'm going to do a reach around, as Erica would say. It's a pretty long little bolt. And there's that bolt. And then we're going to go ahead and do the other one. It's loose, but it is hung up. I think there's maybe a snap ring or something. I'm going to lower this engine down and then we'll look at it from the other direction. Alright, so I lost some video footage. I thought I had the record button pressed and I didn't. This little shoe here is what I'm trying to get out. So basically, if you just get a screwdriver down on this part of it and kind of pry it out gently, put some pressure on there, and then get a tiny screwdriver and put in here. There's a little clip, and you can kind of push that off to the side and it pops right out off of this steel stud that there's a little groove in that little clips into from that shoe, and then this part will come out. So I got that out, and then I took the timing chain here off of this gear and the water pump, and then took it off the two top camshafts, and that's where the video picks up. Alright, so I've got them laid out both side by side. The new one's here, the old one's over here on the left, and they are pretty much the same. There's maybe a 32nd of an inch or something longer on the old one, but not enough that it would make any difference at all. Timing chain is definitely not stretched. So I got a 1/2 inch socket. I'd rather have a 6-point for this, I think, but we're going to go with the 12. That's what I got. Got me a Husky socket and a Harbor Freight breaker bar. See if we can break this loose. Oh, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. The book calls for like red Loctite on these, so I figured they come out really hard. They're not bad at all. Okay, now the book says to use a 3-jaw puller to take these off, but I don't think I need that. This seems kind of loose already. I'm just going to pull it right off there. Okay, so I went back and double checked the book. It gives a GM, thread locker part number, and I looked on Loctite's website, and it cross-references to this red Loctite. There's like 2 different ones it can go with, and this is one of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little drop of it on there. I'm not going to like slather it on. It could be that there was that thread locker on there originally, and just heat and stuff over time have broken it down. So I'll just put a little drop on there like that. I'll let it work its way in, and then I'm just going to screw this on in. So once that's snug, I got to go ahead and get this pen back in here. I'm just going to tap it in. Okay, so now I've got my, let me snug it up here with this. Okay. And then I've got my torque wrench set here for 52 foot-pounds is what the book calls for. Go ahead and torque this down. There we go. So that one's done. Now we'll go ahead and do the other one. That one almost looks like it might have had a little thread sealant on it right in here. So, yeah, I'm happy. I'll go ahead and see if I can get this off of here now. This one's on a little tighter. I just saw it move though. I'm just trying not to pry too hard. I'm being nice and gentle with it. The minimum amount of persuasion as I can do. There. Yep, that's it. Okay. Now, bolts. Clean these threads off real good on here. Now let's go ahead and put a little drop of Loctite on here. Okay, I'll go ahead and put my dowel back in. Alright, that's in the down pin. Now I'll snug her up. Did that thing just move? That thing's moving. Something right there. Yeah, that thing's way too far forward. So let me pull this out. It didn't move more than 1/8 of a turn, so I should be able to roll this back here. Hang on. Don't you move, darn you. Okay, so I got that pin out. I went ahead and just took a little bit off. The hole in these Chinese sprockets is ever so slightly smaller than the hole in the originals. So you see how I put my drill bit in there that's smaller? It's not off by much, but I got to kind of put it in at an angle there. So it needs to come back just a bit. The other thing I did is I just machined a little flat spot on the end so I can grab that with my pliers easier. So now I just got to turn this cam until I feel this pen seat. went. Now it's seated in there good. I'll just tap it in, make sure it's all the way home. Alright. Yep, now she's in there. So now I'll go ahead and torque this guy down to 52 foot-pounds. So I'm going to check my water pump here. Well, that water pump's tight. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. There's no play in those bearings at all. Feels like it probably has a really good seal too. Doesn't just spin all free. It's got a little bit of resistance. Yeah. That thing's good. I'm not going to worry about replacing that. Okay, so we got this gear right here. You can see this. Let me move this light. So I'm just going to reach up in here and pull the old gear out. Slide the new gear on. So it doesn't really have a front and a back to this. But on this one there's only the dot for the timing mark on the one side of that keyway. It's not on this other side. You can see that. So I'm just going to put it with the dot facing out. Slide this one on, hopefully. Oh, it's a tighter fit. Let's see. Oh, there it goes. I'm obviously going to have to tap it back on there to get it on. There it goes. Okay. So I just had to push it a little with the screwdriver. Because I might have to get a big axle nut socket or something and kind of give it a tap, but it's on there. It's just a real tight fit, as it probably should be. Okay, so now I've got the camera down in here to show y'all what we want to do is clean this spot here. I'm just going to clean it with a little brake clean. This is where the new belt tensioner is going to go. So I'll clean that off so it makes a good contact. There's no gasket that goes on it. The oil comes out through the middle and pumps that up and keeps tension on the chain. So you want to make pretty good contact. Okay, so on this little pump here, your old tensioner will be expanded out. But what these do is they click in. So if you're reusing your old tensioner, you've got to push this part all the way in, like put it on a firm surface or something and push it down until this clicks. And that holds it in. And then once it's installed and you have this guide over it, or tensioner shoe or whatever it's called, then you reach in here with a screwdriver and you push on this really hard, or a pry bar or whatever, and that clicks and then pops back up and holds tension on the chain once the chain and all the guides and everything are installed. And on the shoe, so you can see what I was talking about before when I missed it, here's that little clip that you just pry on that a tad bit with the screwdriver and pull that back, and then that slides right off of that pin. And that's how you also know that part, you know, goes to the front. It's just that's got the little clip there. Okay, so I got me a nice clean shop right here. Just spray some brake clean on it. That takes that stuff off nice. I'll use it to clean this gasket surface too. Yeah. Alright, I'll just put some brake clean on there and get down in here with it. Clean that up. Hopefully. Alright, so this piece here, the nice flat machine spot, is going to go up against the block there. That's where your oil comes in, that little hole. So I'm just going to put one little bolt in it. And my arm's probably going to be in the way, but I can't really help it. bolt lined up. Couple of threads started and this will stay. Alright, now I'm gonna go ahead, since I find my other bolt. Okay, so I got that first bolt in. I'm gonna put in my next bolt. Get that started. Okay, so now those are finger tightened as far as I can get them. And tighten them down. These were 83 inch-pounds according to the book. I don't have an inch-pounds torque wrench, but I know about how tight they were when they broke loose. Not very. That's plenty. Right there. Alright, I apologize for the fan noise, but it's hot. This pin right here, if you can see where I'm touching, that's where this shoe goes on. It's just real hard to get the camera up in there. I'll see if I can zoom in a little. So this pin right here, it's got a little groove in it, and that's where this thing clips into. And then this just goes right up in here, like so. Let me zoom back out. And we just take and we put this shoe right up in here on this pin. So this shoe just kind of comes up here. It lays on top of this tensioner. And you pop it right in there, and that's how it goes. Right there, that little tab is what you would push and just pull it off to get it out. And then this little tensioner will pop out when we hit that with the screwdriver, and that pushes on the shoe, and that's what gives the chain tension. Okay, so I'm ready to go ahead and get this chain on. Just gotta go to the round ups. There we go. So I'll go ahead and just, there's no marks or anything on the chain. You just have to go by the fact that dowel pins are on, and then we'll double check that crankshaft. Make sure it's still dead on. I'll just get it around the sprockets like so. On the camshafts. Now, what I know is there's supposed to be 8 links from top to top on these. So if I come like in a straight line up between this bolt and this pin, should be 8 links according to the drawing. So this isn't perfectly lining up. There may be just a little play in it. Let me see. There is a little play one way or the other. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, just go ahead and move this up. And then we're just going to see if we can get her to slide in here. Yep, there she went. I just had to move it forward just a hair, and the chain fell right into place. And now I'm just going to count my links. So I'll come right here with 1, or that's the first link. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, straight down to there. So that's perfect. Just chipped a nail. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and show you what this looks like Here's the, you know, it's around the cam sprockets. There's the 8 links in between. And then I took it down to the water pump nice and tight. And then I want to make sure all my slack, if possible, ends up where my tensioner is. I don't want slack over here, because then when I release the tensioner, it could make the cams move out of time with the crank. So now I'll go ahead and see if we can get this around the crankshaft down here. Alright, so here is where the chain is down here. I'm going to start on this side and just try to get this sucker on here if I can. I wonder if I need to put that tensioner shoe on after the chain, because it came off before the chain. That doesn't seem to give me enough slack with that on there to get this around. Okay, so I'm just going to pry and then push on this little tab here a little. And so that pops right out. Now, let's see if we can get this thing around this crankshaft here. Alright, so I'm going to have to take that actual tensioner itself back off again. Okay, so now the tensioner is back off again, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get this chain on here now. I want to go up above this bolt if possible, but I don't even know if that's possible. Alright, it's around the crank. Now I got to get it over this bolt. Like this, there. Okay, so that's good. And make sure that all my slack, I mean, there's no way I can get any more slack on it. I'll check my timing marks. They're dead on. Yeah, there's no way I can get another link out of it. That's for sure. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and put my tensioner back on. Actually, I think the tensioner came off. The shoe was on here. The shoe was the last thing to come off, so I'm going to put that on and then put the tensioner underneath of it. That's how it came apart. I'm just going to go in the reverse order here from now on. Alright, I'm going to do this off camera and I'll be back. I just got to fiddle around with it so I can get it in there. Okay, so I just really had to fiddle with it. What I finally found out is I thought there wasn't enough room for another tooth on this chain. I took it back off and pulled it really tight, and I found out that there actually was enough room to just get it to come one more tooth and give me one more tooth on this side. And now that's real tight over here. So if you're not getting this shoe on past this chain, make sure this side over here on the timing chain is nice and tight. But now that's on there, and I'm ready to go ahead and put my tensioner back on. Okay, so I'll just show you here. It's getting dark. There's the timing chain back on. I gotta put the tensioner back down under there, but that's what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and put that tensioner on. I'm not going to show it again because I put it on once on video.